But if Adam had gone with, or if Adam had gone with Damiaen, he would have been dead too from the V2 bomb, you see.
Where actually hit the bomb? Where was it?
Well, the bomb hit at the end of that road, Diepenveense. Because the school was the schools were actually at that time all closed in Deventer. Everywhere was too dangerous for children to go to school. But the teachers of the schools who didn't want their children, their students to go too far behind, in schoolwork, would give lessons in their homes, you see, privately. So the children, their students would still go to school, but instead of going to the school would sometimes were bombed, because so often the town was bombed from both sides, from the V1 and 2 sides of the Germans and from the Allies who bombed the bridges, and very often the bombs would land in the town, in the city. So it was very unsafe.
Do you remember the month?
Huh?
Do you remember what month it was?
Well, it must have been in the spring, because I know my brother, I think it was in March. It was in March. I went to the funeral to my brother, and it was exactly a month later, believe it or not, it was exactly a month later that I met my husband. The Canadians came into town. And so when I married him in August of that year, I remember I thought, well, my mother lost her youngest son, but her oldest daughter, because my older sister had died years before. I was the oldest then, but her oldest child had acquired her another son. That was my husband, when I married Peter. And yeah.
Can you tell me, I mean, you got note of the fact that Damiaen was killed, or how?
No. Oh, how I discovered it? Well, I knew, I'll tell you how my memories are. Somebody came to our house at the gate and shouted over the fence, as a cast iron around that house, and said, school children, Jackie Johnson has been killed on the way to school. Well, my brother Damiaen walked with Jackie Johnson. He would come every morning to fetch Damiaen. It was his best friend. And Adam, but Adam was always tardy. Being tardy saved Adam's life, you understand? Because Damiaen always walked with Jackie Johnson, and they walked side by side on the to the end of the Diepenveense, and then they had to go right. And there's a tiny little park there now, and there's where that bomb fell. All the windows were, and so somebody said that, said that they think Damiaen was killed. They found Jackie Johnson. Well, there was a rule in that town: if you have a feeling or a suspicion that somebody of your family or friends are killed, the thing to do immediately is go to the cathedral, because the cathedral was the biggest building, was the biggest floor space. And in the cathedral, it's a very old cathedral, beautiful cathedral in Deventer, which is called the pepper bus, because the roof is not a pointy one long like so many church roofs are. Tower. At Deventer, the cathedral has a tower that is like a pepperworks, like almost like a Muslim dome. It's a dome, you see. So anyway, I immediately jumped on my bike and went to the cathedral to see if my brother was lying there. And I walked and I saw all those bodies lying there, but I didn't see my brother. I didn't see him because everybody was burned from the V2 bomb. And so I didn't find him. So I raced with my bike home and I brought the good news. I said, well, I've been to the cathedral and Damiaen is not there. I said, he's not lying on the floor with all the other bodies. So everybody was relieved that Damiaen was not obvious, not dead. Maybe he got to the master's house that he was supposed to go. So I went to tell that to everybody at home. Everybody was relieved. And then somebody came again. I don't know who it was, Adam or Beppy, said, they did find, he is in the cathedral. He is in the people saw him lying in the cathedral, and so was Jackie Johnson. I said, it's impossible. I just have been to the cathedral. I didn't see Damiaen then. So, and other people said they saw him there. So I immediately went my bike again and went to the cathedral. And I said, somebody came into the house and said that Damiaen was here. But I've been here, I don't see him. And then an orderly there that walked around in the cathedral says, yes, he's here. I said, where? I don't see him. And they said, oh, he's there, right next to that big pillar. There he lies. And so I walked to this big pillar that holds up the roof of the cathedral, and I thought, what's the matter with him? How come I couldn't find my brother? And so I walked to that big pillar in the cathedral, which is still there, of course, and then I saw my brother lying there, and next to his friend Jackie on the floor, and I couldn't believe it. Of course I didn't recognize him because the clothes he had on and also his body was completely burned. He looked different. He was burned, you see, from the feet to the heat of the bomb that went down. Later on I talked to somebody and there was, his chest was gone completely. It was a big shrapnel, a piece of metal that went through the center of his body, and simply his heart blew out. But he had and his friend Jackie, his arms were off. Another shrapnel chopped off his arms, you see, at least one side of his body. So, and then his suit that had a sort of purplish color, and I was looking for his purple suit he had on, which was made from the remnant of some cloth. And his suit was burned too, and the heat of the bomb had burned his suit, and his suit was brown. And I know that his suit was soft purple corduroy, but the heat of the bomb burned his suit and it was brown. And later on, when I talked about somebody else about it, that person who knew something about those things said to me and made me feel better by saying Damiaen wasn't killed because of the shrapnel that blew out his heart. Your brother was killed just before that by the heat of the bomb. It sucked out all the air, you know, something, and that he actually was killed before actually the shrapnel went through his chest. That made me feel a bit better. The Damiaen was killed by the heat of the bomb before he actually, the shrapnel went through his chest, you see. I don't know how they could tell me that, but that's what they told me. I remember that. I later told that to my mother, that actually the experts say that my little brother was killed by the heat of the bomb before the bomb exploded and a shrapnel went through his heart. Yeah, I found him there. So then, of course, I went back home and saw my mother just sobbing there and everybody. Because my mother, in the meantime, had got to the church and found him. So no one knew. I what you call it, mislooked, you know, mislooked. It's terrible. I don't mean to cry, but war is so awful. And you know, Juergen, the Dutch were even not, well, sure, they fought the Germans, of course, once the battle was on, but basically, I know all the military men in my family, they were almost, I could say, pro-German. I know that the officers in my family, uncles and so, admire the Germans for their disciplines, and the Dutch have very many German relatives. It's so close, you know, over the border, and it was. But we had to, of course, we were attacked, so we had to fight. But it is awful, really.
Let me get you a tissue.
No,